I started out knowing that I wanted to grow as much in the garden that I could use and eat, but also I wanted to grow it in a way that environmentally was sound. So I wanted to use organic principles, limit chemical and fertilizer inputs and pest control. So I really wanted a good organic environment that was quite productive. But because it's my home as well, I want it to be restful and I want it to look good. So it's got to be nice to walk around, and I've created areas where you can sit, where there are chairs and lounges and things so you can relax. I think the problem a lot of people have with a productive or edible garden is, particularly in suburbia, is they don't want a garden that is productive but looks ugly, and then their neighbours who are obsessed with their lawns and their flower gardens are upset by this. So I think people would feel more inclined to be productive if they knew that they could have a garden that was both productive and beautiful to themselves and their nature, and enhance the street value of their property. I started by planting things first without a lot of theory, and then I spent a lot of time on my own trying to learn things from online resources, and then I went off and did a more formal study and learned from experts, starting with doing a permaculture course and then moving on and doing the syntropic agriculture workshop, which I found super useful as a technique. If I was to go back and do it again, I would start with some theory earlier in the process so that I had stronger theory and design principles in place in my garden. I think you could avoid a lot of those early mistakes that people make. A lot of people start by planting their fruit trees in straight lines in lawns, and then they struggle with their fruit trees for years, and then they might go off and do a syntropic agriculture course and then realise that their tree needs to live in a whole community of trees that build soil, etc. It's harder to come backwards than it is to start off with good knowledge and good theory and good design principles, so that those trees are actually growing better right from the start, and you plant them in a more logical and more serviceable and a more efficient place. So yeah, I think your whole garden design will be much more carefully thought out. I think a real benefit of having Tiago come and talk to me was really opening up or showing me opportunities in the garden for more space and more production if I cut back non-productive trees to open both space and light and airflow, and then retain some for privacy, which do actually respond really well to a hard prune, but also open a lot more space before. And I think now I've planted about 30 fruit trees and a lot of under layers of plants like papaya or gooseberries or asparagus bed, and fences covered in passion fruit vine, etc. So I will have a quite productive front yard once this garden really matures. My idea all along, even before I started to study the theory, was that I knew it was a large space and I'm not getting any younger, so I wanted the garden to be as efficient as possible. So I tried to incorporate principles into the garden that wouldn't make it low maintenance. So my aim is, by the time retirement comes along in 10 years' time, that this garden will have no major work to do other than pruning and harvesting.
So here we are, right in the middle of a place that was not productive at all. In this space that nothing else was growing, now we have fruit trees like Rolínia from Brazil, flowers, and then right there I see, describe to me what else we have here, Dynes.
So there's a combination of productive, so there's a number of avocado trees through here. I planted papaya through here as well. There's a whole bed of asparagus growing along the front, so that will be a seasonal, long-term perennial plant. And behind me, some more custard apple and Peruvian ground apple or yacon out the back here. So I was initially worried when you encouraged me to prune the hedge down that I would lose all my privacy, but now I realise I can. These will grow quite quickly, so I've got two different kinds of custard apple tree, which will grow into a nice tree and fill this space, but I'll have the same privacy that I used to have in a much nicer looking tree that doesn't require constant pruning, and I'll get beautiful, delicious custard apples from them at the same time. So
imagine in a garden that it looks beautiful, look at that, it's productive, and right in the middle of a suburb, So you see house, and he made his own little community here, him and his mom, and lots of food to eat. Thank you, Dynes. Thanks for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.